How are you, my good people? This is Dr. Olok. I want to talk about something that is really impeding and really pressing. This country called Kenya, we have come a long way from the struggles of our forefathers towards the independence before 1963. Then we had only 3 challenges. That was to fight poverty, to fight stupidity, and to fight diseases. These are anchored in 3 pillars. That is education, health, and also the economy. But surprisingly, as days are moving, as circumstances are presenting themselves, it has come to the realization that we as a country, we are like moving and going back, making 7 steps ahead, making some 10 steps backwards, or making 5 steps ahead and making another 7 steps behind or backward. Why am I saying this? Time and again, we have been told to go to school so that we can change our circumstances. In fact, every family today is poor because they have taken their children to school. They have sold their only cow, their only available piece of land, just to take their children through school. And then another lie that is propagated through the school system is that you finish school for a better life in future. That if you go to school, your life will change. But the reality is that things have changed in our country. Situations have also changed, and they haven't changed naturally. They have changed because of human making. In fact, I believe all problems that we are currently undergoing in our country today are man-made. Nothing has happened by circumstance, or nothing has happened by situation or design. Because I think all the challenges are man-made. Reason being, if you look at our GDP today, it is not where it's supposed to be more than 50 years or 40 years after independence. If you look at the rate of inflation today, it is at rooftop. Population is increasing, resources are static, opportunities are slim, and people are suffering. In 2025, the suffering is more than it was in 1994. People are educated, people are learned, people are knowledgeable, but they are not given opportunities to showcase their ability, to showcase their knowledge, to use their knowledge to transform their circumstances, to use their knowledge to transform the country for the better. Today, another lie has been propagated by people who are in positions and authority. They'll tell you that people don't go to school to get jobs. People go to school to innovate, to create businesses, to be entrepreneurs. But how do you become an entrepreneur? How do you create or innovate if you don't have a starting point? Everything we see today must have started from somewhere. Even when you want to go for a long journey, you have to start with a step. So the same people who are saying this are on a monthly salary. They are employed. They are earning money every month. And they are telling the young people from school, from colleges, from universities, that they should not be looking for jobs. Instead, they should be creating businesses. And yet, themselves, They are comfortably living under our under our taxes, and they are comfortably living from one paycheck to another paycheck, earning hefty salaries. And as if that is not an insult enough, those salaries that they are earning, they are also getting into dirty, shoddy deals, not clean business at all. Shortcuts, forged documentation to be able to engage in the now infamous side hustle. Today, if you want to get a job, somebody will tell you to pay an amount that is equivalent to a loan that you would take when you get that position. For instance, you want to get into the police service. Somebody asks you for 500 Kenyan shillings, sincerely speaking, and you're not even sure whether you will get that opportunity. And even if you get that opportunity, you're not sure whether you'll go through the training successfully, because there are also chances of being shot and you die or you get killed before even passing out as a police officer. The same happens to all sectors. All government sectors are screwed. There is no fair playing ground for everyone today. Today, whom you know or what you have in this country matters more than what you know. People have gone to school. People have got good papers, good documentation. But where are they going to showcase what they are able to do if they are not given opportunities? Recently, I attended an interview where somebody asks me about my experience. My only concern was, where do you get the experience if you're not given the first opportunity to display what you're able to do? Yes, there are those who thrive amidst crisis. There are those who thrive against the hard situations, and we thank God for that. But not everybody is able to defy the odds and thrive under difficult circumstances. Some people need to be given options, to be given opportunities, so that they can be able to show what they're able to present or to offer. I would be glad to be in a country where employers would be looking for people who are passionate and people who have the right attitude for the job instead of having experience. Because you would get somebody with experience, but they don't have the attitude, they don't have the passion. I'm convinced and I believe everybody has ability to do everything under the sun, so long as they're given an opportunity. But if you don't give an opportunity to people, where do you want them to show their prowess, to show their capability? Because you look at a situation whereby people look at you having gone to school and having nothing to do as if you are a failure. They look at you as if you haven't done what you're supposed to do. They look at you as if you are in your circumstances because you like to be in those circumstances. For instance, people talk about moving from looking for jobs and venturing into business. True to that. But not all of us can be business people. Assuming everybody was in business, who would buy from the other? Secondly, there are people who are just passionate to make things happen in certain spaces. For instance, there is somebody who is just a good accountant. There is somebody who is just a good HR practitioner. But to make matters worse, what aggravates so many people, including myself, is that people are forging their way up. A report has been released by Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission saying that up to around 20% of the people in the public service are in those positions because they forged their certificates. But honestly, why would somebody be in a position for forging a certificate, and yet there is somebody somewhere else who have gone through the system, have gone through the years to attain their degrees, which they have attained genuinely? They have even borrowed money from banks to be where they are, but they are not given an opportunity to be in those spaces. An area that needs an emergency audit is in the public parastatals, headed by public universities. Recruitment in public universities today is screwed. It is skewed, for that matter. People employ their relatives. The management employ those whom they know. They employ people who are close to them. And it is like a succession battle where you don't want a foreigner. It is a lineage kind of succession where when one party leaves an office, they call their closest ally, their closest friend, their closest relative to succeed them. And yet there are people out there who are qualified, competent, and are willing and able to change things. And that's why we have a lot of mediocrity in our systems. Universities are collapsing because of mismanagement of resources. There are people who are working in those universities as part-time lecturers. They take years, ages before being paid, and yet students are paying fees. Money comes from the government through capitation. What is the problem? Why engage people if you cannot be able to pay them? Why misuse people's knowledge? In fact, where we have reached today, I'm talking bitterly, there is no need of the government spending a lot of resources in our education system. Because you waste a lot of resources taking people to secondary school, taking people to university, and then once they finish university, they have nowhere to go to. You're talking about our education system. The same system we are saying it is bad. It is the same system that the people who are at policy making, decision making tables went through. There is nobody in government today that never went through the 844 system. They know. But because some of them, their hands were held, some of them were given opportunities, they now think or reason as if they don't know what is happening. Tell me, for example, why the Minister for Education should not be an educationist. Tell me, for example, why the Minister for Health should not be a health expert. These are the people who understand the systemic issues and problems that are bedeviling these areas, these spaces. An engineer, for example, might not be able to understand what problems or challenges are faced by the teachers. But my plea is to the decision makers, the policy makers. Please, make this country become habitable. I cry when I hear a government official saying that they are working on a situation whereby people who graduate from TVET institutions should go look for jobs in foreign countries through a structured methodology. A whole Minister of Education. Why can't we be able to create opportunities in the country? Why can't we be able to make an enabling environment so that our people can get jobs in our country? We talk of national values, patriotism, love, unity, peace. Why are we lacking these things? If we are patriotic enough, why would we be able to export human resources to other countries? What do those countries have that we don't have? You and I know where the problem is, and nobody is willing to confront this. You and I know the genesis of the problem of our country started with corruption, and that is where the problem is, and nobody is willing and ready to finish this corruption thing. People become corrupt, they steal money that belongs to the public, then they go back and reincarnate themselves, they beat the justice system, they bribe their way, and then they get cleared, they come back again to the policy making tables. The same people. Look at our politics, for example. There is nothing that changed. It is only the same monkeys. It's only the playing ground that perhaps they normally change. The forest is what they change. But the players are the same. The monkeys are the same. I have not said anyone is a monkey, yes. But what we are saying is we need to change. We need to have people who are serious. Our institutions are rotten with corruption. Today, you cannot just apply for a job in an institution and be invited for an interview anonymously. You'd hear people asking, calling, people who are at the decision-making table, the board of management, the council in the universities. They ask, this candidate, candidate X, candidate B, who are you aligned to? Who brought you here? Whom do you know here? Why should we take candidate X and not candidate Y? He's related to who in this panel? Who knows him here? And the same thing has now moved from the public sector to the private sector. Some years ago, less than 10 years ago, it was easy to get a job in the private sector. So long as you qualify, you merit, and you go through the interview and you present yourself and you show your prowess, you went through. I don't want to talk about the county system of government. It is very rotten. Nobody gets a job if they don't know the governor, if they don't know the politician, the MCA. Why are our representatives, whom we are entrusting with policy making, auctioning this country? Why are our policy makers auctioning this country? Do we still have good people in this country? People who believe in merit. People who believe that things can happen without knowing anyone. I cry for my nation. As I speak to you, I am a PhD holder, but I'm jobless. Some people will say, how do you become a PhD holder when you are jobless? Yes, I'm jobless. That is the reality. Not that I'm not doing anything about it. I've tried. For the past 1 year, I have tried. There is not a single university that I've approached with my credentials. But nobody is willing to give me an opportunity. There are people in those universities, even with bachelor's degrees, employed as lecturers. And yet I'm here with my PhD, rotting under my suitcase, and nobody is willing to give me an opportunity. I have made applications, but they do those applications, those advertisements as a formality. Sometimes nobody even call you for an interview, and yet you merit. Occasionally, if you happen to call you for an interview, they call you for curtain racing. You go and you go and kindly escort the others. You go and escort those whom they've already selected. I'm speaking with a lot of pain. And this thing will very soon blow out. Our population is increasing. Today we are at 52 million as a country. But opportunities are not increasing at that level, at that rate. There are people out there who feel that they are at the policy making table, they are at the place where they are eating, but they are not willing to help the common man. The reality is the common man is suffering. The reality is today in Kenya, chances of you getting a better life if you don't know anyone or you don't have anything are very slim. Yes, there are those who succeed through luck, which is commendable. But are we able to make our systems to work? Why is it that young Kenyans are moving out of the country? Yet, on the other hand, on the other side of the mouth, we talk of our national values, patriotism. Are there any Kenyans today who are still patriotic about being a Kenyan? Personally, I'm not, because of what I'm going through. I wish systems could work so that they could support everybody. Today, if you want to get a director position or any position in a public institution where you are at policy making decision or decision making, you have to join politics. You have to support and become politically correct. Who said that? Must you be politically correct to get opportunities in this country, honestly? There are people who don't want to involve in politics. They only want to give service to the people. They only want to make Kenya become a better place. They're not interested in politics anymore. Kindly, if you are listening to me, if you are listening to this video at this time, please, if you are at a position of making decisions, making policies, please ensure that you make Kenya work for everyone, regardless of where they come from, regardless of their background, regardless of their political affiliation, regardless of the color of their the color of their skin, regardless of their tribe, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their gender or sex. The buck stops with the policy makers of this country. I know it is not yet late. You can make changes. You can zero rate corruption. You can, in fact, make corruption something of the past. Make corruption look like genocide in Rwanda so that people don't talk about it, people don't engage in it. Get 2, 4, 3 corrupt individuals, hang them, so that they can act as a lesson to the others not to engage in corruption. What value does it get when you have 20 cars and people in your surrounding are suffering? You have piped water in your house and people around you are walking 90 kilometers to look for water. You have 10 cars which you change, and your neighbor does not even have a bicycle. When they are sick, they use a wheelbarrow to wheel them to the hospital. What value does it give you as a vice chancellor when you cannot be able to absorb people who have learned? When you delay paying people who have taught for you on part-time basis for 3 years? These are people with families. They are children to go to school, children to feed. What value do you get as a president when you lead people who cannot be able to eat, not because they are full, but because they don't have the capacity? Even the nature is tired with how we are stealing. God himself, I'm sure, is not happy with what we are doing as a country. As a people who are in the decision-making table, as a people who are in policy-making position, God is not happy. Look at the climate change right now. Look at the drought at the moment. People are going to die of hunger in the next few months. Crops have failed. And it's because of what we are doing. Let's work for the people. Thank you.